always say it was lunar polar that did whatever it was that was bad. And as I was saying, lunar polar is the same letters in my name, Powell.
Alan, just bring it closer to your mouth.
But just rearrange the letters of Alan Powell and you get lunar polar. Okay, Tyra.
On to the next.
On to the next. Okay. Anybody know who this is? I told you before, you know that. Yes, this is yeah, it's one of the comedians, two Ronnies. There was Ronnie Corbett and Ronnie Barker, and this one is Ronnie Corbett. And there has been some comment that I look a little bit like this fellow. I don't know if you can see any. And thank you very much.
Can we have a little more light? Because we can't see out. You're in the dark.
Okay, I'm always in the dark. All right, how's that? Okay, so on occasions I have been mistaken for this fellow, Ronnie Corbett. And there's one incident a few years ago. I was in Edmonton, staying in a hotel, and I was on the 17th floor of the hotel, and got in the elevator to go down for breakfast, and two ladies came in, obviously British. Oh, okay. Obviously British ladies. I could tell by the way they were speaking and dressed to some extent, and they started saying, "It's him, it's him, I'm telling you, it's him." So in my best English voice I said, "Good morning, ladies," and they just broke up. "Oh, it really is him, it's him." And then they started on the way down, "You ask him." No, you ask him. And they started. Finally, we got to the ground floor, and one of the ladies came up to me and said, "Can we have your autograph?" So I said, "Certainly. What's your name?" And she says, "Mavis." So I wrote, "Best regards, Mavis Alan Powell." And she said, "That must be his real name." And she was convinced. And now that my signature now sits on her mantelpiece in a little frame, and figuring that I am Ronnie Corbett. Okay, so that was Ronnie. I don't know what we got next. Okay, we got a little video to get things. As I say, Ronnie Corbett and Ronnie Barker were two famous British comedians in the 1960s and 70s. And this is one of the video sketches that they made that you might like. Oh, not this one. Oh. We lost it.
Oh, what happened?
Not him. Not him. I seem to have lost the two video too. Oh, there we are. There you go. That one.
Slight technical error.
Yeah, that's it.
No.
George, the tap's leaking, the telly man's repossessed your electric organ, and the dog's done it again. Welcome home. Me and Lil have gone to Brighton, your loving wife Ede. P.S. your dinner's down a chip shop. That's charming, isn't it? Charming. Down a chip shop. Cool. Have it in, eh? You back, George? No, still down there, Sid. What you're staring at now is one of those uncanny encounters of the 3rd Division, see? Probably due to the time warp on the A33 between Croydon and the coast. Of course I'll back you, Burke. Has a week gone already, then? Yes, time flies, Sidney. Good thing elephants don't. I've got it. Have you? Have you been anywhere with it?
I thought I'd show it to you first.
I don't want to see it.
Well, I thought you might be interested, didn't I? I've never had a racing pigeon before.
Racing pigeon? You bought a racing pigeon? You don't like birds, you're illogical to feathers, ain't you?
Well, I know that, but this one was going cheap.
Well, all birds go cheap.
Now, I mean, a fellow only wanted 25 quid for it, and it's a real champion.
Who sold it you?
Fella down the pub, you know.
Oh dear, not that chap who sold you that great big lump of black moon rock.
Yeah, that's him, the Coleman. That's him.
He's done you again, isn't he? Eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he has. I remember when he sold you that Elizabeth I wristwatch.
Look, George, that was a genuine antique, you know.
In the time of Elizabeth I, they didn't have digital watches, did they?
Well, that's probably why it didn't work. I mean, you couldn't ask for more proof than that.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll bring it in and let you
Go on, let's have a look at this champion here. Go on.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. Come on then. There we are. That's it. Come on then. You come. That's it. Yeah, we're a bit nervous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard, it's sprung.
Come on then.
That's it. That's it. There we are.
It's a duck. Hey, it's a duck.
Where?
Where? In the cage, it's a duck.
It's a racing pigeon.
Oh, it's a duck. No, it's got webbed feet unless you bought a pair of flippers, have you?
Don't go on. That's feet of his. That's kind of what's named streamlining.
What, aerodynamics?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, if it's a duck, he's done you again, the Coleman, he has. Yes, he has, yes, he has.
I remember that time he sold you that day-old golden Labrador pup.
Look, turned out to be an hamster.
Look, George, that was a genuine mistake on his part.
Oh, yeah, well, that's his baby. That's his baby. I shouldn't try and join the Pigeon Fanciers Association with that thing, here.
This is no everyday, ordinary racing pigeon, I tell you.
I know, it's an everyday duck.
It is an Argentinian racing pigeon.
Yeah, Argentinian racing codswallop. Look, he's got a bill instead of a beak, isn't it?
That's his beak. He was in one of these night races over the Argentinian Pampas. And he ran into a mountain. That's what's happened to him.
What do you feed him on it?
Fish?
It's a duck.
It's an Argentinian. Look, I took it out for a test flight.
Yeah.
It flies just like a pigeon.
Oh, yeah, fast, is it?
Oh, fast. I should say it's not very fast, no. As a matter of fact, he was overtaken by a couple of sparrows, but he's got some stamina.
Oh, yeah.
I was out looking for him for hours, I was.
Were you? Where'd you find him?
Over the duck pond.
It's a duck,
Yeah, it's an Argentinian
Look,
fish.
look at that. See, he's waggling the back of his head. Look at that. Look at that. It's just like a teeny boy's haircut in the back there, isn't it?
Don't say things like that in front of him, you'll offend him.
No, I doubt if he cares. See, it'll be like water off an Argentinian racing pigeon's back there. Has he got a name, has he?
Yeah. Donald.
It's a duck.
It's a race.
Look, let's be fair, let's face back, shall we? Look, it's got waterproof feathers, it's got webbed feet, it's got a bill instead of a beak, you feed it on fish, you find it on a duck pond. And it quacks.
It's a duck.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
What am I going to do with it now?
Well, there's only one thing to do with it, isn't there, eh? You've got to take it over the park and you give it his freedom. Tell you what, I'll come with you. I've got to give the greyhound a run.
Oh, yeah.
I'm teaching it to hunt, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You're right. Hunt what?
Ducks. Come on, Jim, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that was the. Oh, sorry. So that was the two Ronnies. I hope you found that amusing. I certainly did. What about stuff? Okay. Another little story. Oh, can you just? Thank you. Oh.
Won't let me pause it.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll come to this later. I was in Salt Lake City a few years ago with a colleague attending a conference, and we decided to have a walk around downtown Salt Lake City. And as we came to an intersection, I pressed the little button on the pole, and the thing goes beep, 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 like that. So this colleague of mine says, "Do you know what that's for?" So I played silly and I said, "No, what is it?" He said, "It's to keep the mosquitoes away." And so this American fellow next to us says, "No, you guys, that's to allow you to cross the street safely, so it's to be okay." So we started arguing with him. "No, it's not, it's to keep the mosquitoes." And the more we argued, the more he insisted that it was really to allow us to be safely across the street. Finally, we said, "Well, we can prove that we're right." He says, "How?" I said, "Well, there's no mosquitoes around here, is there?" So, next time, if you're crossing the street, it goes beep, 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 you might mention that it keeps the mosquitoes away. The same fellow, not really true, but the same fellow decided to take a trip to Spain. And he figured before he would go, he had to learn to speak Spanish. So he knew a fellow who was a Spanish speaker called Julio, went to see him and said, "Excuse me, I'm going to Spain, can you teach me to speak Spanish?" So the guy says, "Yes, certainly." "When are you going?" He says, "Tomorrow." And so Julio says, "Well, the best thing you can do is speak slowly. Remember, speak slowly." So he says, "Okay." Off he goes to Spain. He's walking around Madrid, and he comes across a bar, and there's a sign, Budweiser. He says, "Oh, Budweiser, that's great." So he goes in, goes up to the bar, says to the barman, "Can I have a Budweiser, please?" You see, he remembers what Julio told him. And the barman says, "Yes, sir, you certainly can." Gives him the beer. And then the barman says, "Are you on vacation?" And the visitor says, "Yes, I am from the United States." And the barman says, "I am from the United States also." So the visitor says, "So why are we speaking Spanish?" Okay, Spain reminds me of my honeymoon, which I won't tell you about. Sorry. And it was shortly after we were married. We went over to, we were living in Manchester, and as Ari said, our hometown was Leeds. And we went over to Leeds for an overnight stay, and I stayed in my mother-in-law's house, my in-laws' house, my father-in-law's too. And we stayed in what was my wife's bedroom, and in fact, on what was my wife's bed. The problem with this bed was that it was just made of some springs and a mattress put on top. And if you sat on the bed or did anything, the damn bed would go like that, making this kind of a noise. And every time, so during the night, my wife and I remember we hadn't been married that long.
Oh, poor Dad.
We're lying in bed, and of course, happened to turn over, and the bed goes like that. And the voice from the other room, my mother-in-law, says, "Are you all right, Diane?" to my wife. And she says, "Yes, mother, I'm fine." And this kept going on several times. Every time we had to lie like this in bed, not daring to move because of the voice from the other room. Anyway, it went on. Every time we did move, she would yell, "Are you all right, Diane?" And so at one point I really got fed up with this. So we moved in bed. The bed squeaked like crazy, and my mother-in-law yelled out, "Are you all right, Diane?" I put my hand over her mouth and I said, "She's fine." Never a word after that. Later on that evening, or that night I should say, there was a big commotion going on in my in-laws' bedroom. What had happened is, it was during the winter, and she'd taken a hot water bottle to bed. I don't know if you're all familiar with hot water bottles. I know you are. This is a rubber bottle. It's about 1 foot long by a foot wide, with a stopper on the top. And the idea is you filled it, and Peter knows about this, you filled it with hot water and stick it in your bed to keep your feet warm in the winter. Well, apparently my mother-in-law didn't put the stopper in the top properly. So when the thing got cold, she decided to kick it out of bed, with the result was that the water spilled out, and they soaked the bed sheets and the mattress. They had to get up, strip the bed, flip the mattress over, etc., etc. And that's the reason for all the commotion. I couldn't resist. Are you all right, mother-in-law? So that was, what else have I got here? Okay, I think I told Dolly about this. After my father-in-law passed away, my mother-in-law was actually in a wheelchair, and she came over to Canada with my wife's sister's husband, Gerald. And she was in a wheelchair. And of course, we visited Niagara Falls. And if you know Niagara Falls, there's what they call Clifton Hill, with all the tourist traps all the way down. And down at the bottom of Clifton Hill is the falls. So Gerald was holding my mother-in-law's wheelchair at the top of Clifton Hill. And he looked over at me and grinned, but didn't have the courage. Okay, excuse me, look at my notes. Okay, a completely different little story. There's a lady who, her husband had passed away, and she decided she needed a new husband. So she put an ad in the newspaper, "Husband wanted. Mustn't run around, mustn't beat me up, but must be good in bed." A little while later, there's a ring on the doorbell. She opens it, and there's a guy in a wheelchair with no arms and no legs. And he says, "I've come to answer your ad in the paper." And she says, "Well, how come?" He says, "Well, I've no legs, so I'm not going to run around. I've no arms, so I'm not going to beat you." And she says, "Well, are you good in bed?" And he says, "How do you think I rang the doorbell?" Okay, now we're up to Jake the Peg. Here's another little video.
With his extra leg, wherever I go, through rain and snow, the people always let me know. There's Jake the Peg, with his extra leg, The day that I was born, oh boy, my father nearly died. Well, he couldn't get my diapers on no matter how he tried. 'Cause I was born with this extra leg, and since that day begun, I had to learn to stand on my own 3 feet. Believe me, that's not fun. I'm Jake the Peg, with his extra leg, wherever I go through rain and snow, the people always let me know. There's Jake the Peg, with his extra leg. I had a dreadful childhood, really. Well, I suppose I shouldn't moan. Each time they had a 3-legged race, I won it on my own. And also I got popular when came the time for cricket. They used to roll my trousers up and use me for the wickets. Perfect diddly-diddly-diddly, with his extra leg diddly-diddly-diddly. Wherever I go through rain and snow, the people always let me know. There's Jake, the perfect diddly-diddly-diddly, with his extra leg diddly-diddly-diddly. I was a dreadful scholar. I found all the lessons hard. Well, the only thing I knew for sure was 3 feet make a yard. To count to 10, I used my fingers, and if I needed more, by getting my shoes and socks off, I could count to 24. Hold it, fellas. Count to 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Count to 25. Whatever I did, they said was false. They said quick march, I did a quick waltz. And then they shouted at me, put your best foot forward. But which foot? I said, it's very fine for you. You only got a choice of 2. But me, I'm Jake the peg diddly-diddly, with his extra leg. Diddly-diddly.
I go back.
Okay. I've got, excuse me, consulting my list of what I'm going to say. This next story involves Tim Hortons and also involves my youngest daughter Susan, who is sitting right there. Susan teaches small children, 4-year-olds and so on. And I used to, well, in the school where she teaches, they have these little toilets that looks like miniature toilets, not actually potties, but miniature toilets. And so if one of the boys wanted to go to the toilet, she would take him and sit him on. And she was telling me, well, before I have to tell you that I used to occasionally meet Susan at school, pick her up, and we'd go for a coffee at Tim Hortons and just discuss what our day was like. On this occasion, she was telling me about this one little boy who she was teaching who wanted to go pee-pee. So she took him to this little toilet, sat him on the toilet, and his pee-pee went like that. So she's telling me this in the middle of a crowded Tim Hortons. And she gets quite
enthusiastic,
thank you, Susan. When she's telling me this story, she says, I told him, push your penis down. And I'm sitting opposite her. Here's Susan, the young lady, and me, an older fellow. And the young lady's telling the older fellow, push your penis down. So I said, shut up, Susan. But she wouldn't. She said, no, I really told him. Again, forcefully, she's saying, push your penis down. Well, everybody in Tim Hortons starts looking around at me. So, you know, the only choice I had was to get up and walk out before they called the police and then I was accused of something rude. Never happened, that. But that's a true story, right? So
very true story.
Thank you.
And I don't know what happened to his penis.
Pardon me. Another little joke is a fellow is in a fancy restaurant and eating his dinner. He's quite happy eating his dinner. And he looks around, he notices all the waiters have a spoon in the top outside pocket of their jackets. So he calls one of them over and says, excuse me, how come everyone has a spoon there? And the waiter says, well, it's like this. we had these we had these efficiency experts in, and they told us that they did a study, and the piece of cutlery that was most frequently dropped on the floor was the spoon. So we're supposed to carry a spoon in our top pockets. If a customer drops the spoon on the floor, we'd say, here's a clean one, put it down in front of them. That way, we don't interrupt their meals, and we are back to the customers as quickly as possible. And he says, oh, that's very, very efficient. Continues eating his dinner, and after a while he calls the waiter over again, and he says, I've noticed something else. He says, what? He says, well, all you waiters have a thread coming out of the zipper in your pants. And he says, what's that for? And the waiter says, well, you really weren't supposed to notice that. That thread, excuse me, is tied to the end of our thing, inside our pants. And he says, well, what's that about? He says, well, it's the same efficiency experts. Well, if we have to go to the washroom, we use the thread to take out our thing, right? And if we're not touching it, then we don't have to wash our hands, and we can get back to the customers as quickly as possible. So I said, oh, that's very smart. He says, I can see how that works, but I can see how you take it out, but how do you get it back in again? And he says, well, I don't know about the other fellows, but I use the spoon. Okay.
Can you just turn up the volume on the speaker quickly?
When I was about to start my engineering education, there was a program offered whereby the student could apply for a job at an engineering company, work for 6 months for that company, and then go on to the engineering courses for 6 months. And every alternate would work for 6 months and go to the engineering school for 6 months. The work periods, the 6-month work periods, were at the same company each time. So I met a friend of mine who's still a friend today called Owen, a nice guy. He wouldn't be my friend otherwise. So we went for an interview, and the interviewer was the chief engineer, a fellow called George, who was a very, very abrupt and miserable sort of so-and-so. And he said, okay, I will agree to you coming every 6 months between your periods at university. But in return, he said, I want, after you've graduated, I want the benefit of your education, and I want you to come to the company and work for 2 years, a minimum of 2 years after you graduate. So what the heck, I was 18 years old. I said, sure. He says, nothing in writing, just a gentleman's agreement based on a handshake. So we said yes. Owen and I said yes. And off we went. Every 6 months, we'd go to his office. I should tell you about his office. It was a small office with glass about 3 feet up to the ceiling. So the bottom half was just solid wood, and then there was glass further up. And he had what they called a closed door policy. So if you wanted to see the boss, he had a button on the outside of the door. You pressed the button, and a light that came on, and it said, wait. And he had to stand there on Spilkes until the light came on and said, enter, and then you could go into His Majesty George. And every time we'd go in, we'd say, well, we want to let you know that in a month or so we'll be leaving again to go back to university for engineering courses. And he would give us this hard time. oh, for goodness sake, how can I manage my office when you people are coming and going? How can I schedule projects if you're not going to be here? And he kept going on like this for every time. So Bertie says, I suppose I gave my word that we'd let you go, so off we would go. In the last term at university, the head of department called Owen and myself into his office. We thought, what the hell have we done now? And he says that our marks to date have been very good. And he's strongly recommended that we take postgraduate studies and go on for our master's degree. So we said, oh, okay, that's nice. And so we applied to Manchester University to take a master's degree, and it was a 2-year course starting as soon as we graduated from our bachelor's course. Oops, we'd already committed to George that we would work for 2 years after we finished. Now we were going to go back on our word. So we had to go tell him. So went in front to the door, pressed the button, wait. We're all, both of us, very, very nervous. Enter came on, so we walked in. And he said, yes. I said, well, we're going to be leaving. He says, another work term? And we said, no, permanently. What? Permanently? You gave a gentleman's agreement, we shook hands on this, I let you go every 6 months, I didn't know it. And he kept going on and on and on, this tirade just blasting us. But we stuck to our guns. I said, sorry, we're going. So, and we left. We left the office. After a while, because we'd given plenty of notice, he calmed down. And so we managed to ask him for a reference, to whom it may concern reference. This is the reference letter here. And you can see it's dated the 1st of August 1969. It's awful. You can read it. There's a line in here, and it says, talks about me, his work was generally to the satisfaction of the company. I mean, I've never shown this to anybody, well, any prospective employer anyway, because it's just awful. But he gave us this reference, and what the heck we're going to do. So, Owen and I were thinking about, we had to get our own back at this devil. We had to do something. And what we noticed is that George had very regular bowels. He would enter his office, come in, oh yeah, here, oh, need the stick. Thank you. So this was more or less what the engineering office looked like, all these desks here. George's office is over here. There's his entrance to his office for the rabble that lived on these desks. And then he had his own personal entrance from the corridor on this side. The main entrance to the drawing engineering office was through here, and the toilets are down over this side. Yeah. What we noticed with George always came in 10 to 15 minutes later than the rest of us, because he was too dignified to enter with all of us, you know. And as I say, these were half glass walls here and here. So we would see him enter a few minutes later, and every morning without fail, he would sit at his desk for 2 minutes, then he'd walk through the office, wandering through the desk, grunting a good morning to everybody, and disappear into the toilet for 10 minutes or however long it took. Owen and I, by the way, our desks were here. They stuck us right by the toilets, which to some extent was convenient, because what we decided to do is before he came in, we decided to go into the toilets and lock the cubicle doors of each, right? And back to our desk, sitting here, trying to keep a straight face. George came in 10 to 15 minutes late, as usual, wandered through here, grunting his good mornings to everybody, and disappeared into the toilet. And of course, the poor devil found that all the cubicles were locked. So we heard him banging on the doors. Come on in there, come on, hurry up. You know, we were dying with laughter. After a while, he came out, back to his own office, right? And waited 2 or 3 minutes, then came out with a pencil and paper. And he's writing down the names of all the people that are here, trying to figure out who's missing and who might be in the back. And once he'd completed that, went back into his office to check his list, at which point we ran like hell into the toilets, opened all the cubicles. He realized that there was nobody missing, so ran through into the toilets. Poor devil. So that was my experience with George. Okay, who's on first? I think. Okay, the next is a very famous video. Abbott and Costello, who's on first, talking about baseball.
After these ads.
Protect all of this stuff that I live.
Oh,
Decided to
yeah,
do
ignore
this
these ads, we couldn't
ourselves.
cut these out, so
Whether we're profitable or
let's
not.
skip.
These are
Oh, here we go.
Friends, I told you that my partner would be here, and here he is. Didn't we expect him, did you? Now, he always shapes up. Now, why not let the folks themselves ask for something that they'd like to hear? Something different. Now, is there anything special that you would like to hear us do?
Baseball.
No, wait a minute, friends. You don't want to hear that, do you?
Yeah, we have the props for you here.
Well, you came prepared, didn't you? All set, huh? Well, this is a must. I guess it's a must. We've got to do it. Well, I'll tell you. Let me see. That looks all right. Okay, all right. Pretend. We just pretend. All right, I'll take it easy with that. We just pretend that we're organizing a baseball team here at the retired actors' home. And I am the manager. Now,
You're going to be the manager of the retired actors baseball team?
yes.
I would like to join the retired actors baseball team.
Oh, you would?
And I would like to know some of the guys' names on the team, so if I want to play with them, I know them, and I meet them on the street or in the home here, I can say hello to them.
Oh, sure. But you know they give baseball players nowadays very peculiar names.
A lot of funny names.
You know, like Sticky Fields,
Sticky Fields.
Goofy Dan, Boopy Bobber, Booby Bobber. But let's see now, we have on our team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third.
That's what I want to find out, the guy's name.
And then,
That's what I want to find out, the guy's name.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third.
Are you going to be the manager of the baseball team?
Yes.
You know the guy's name?
Oh, I should.
Well, you tell me the guy's names on the baseball
I say,
team.
who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third.
You ain't saying nothing to me yet. Go ahead and tell me.
I'm telling you.
You ain't saying nothing yet. Go ahead and tell me.
Who's on first, what's on second, I don't know is on third.
You know the guy's names on the baseball team? Well, go ahead. Who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the guy's name.
Who?
The guy playing first.
Who?
The guy playing first base.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
What are you asking me for? I don't know.
Wait a minute.
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's his name.
Go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The guy on first.
That's it. That's his name.
You didn't say nothing. I ain't asking nothing.
You did.
You know the guy's name on first base? Tell me the guy's name on first base.
Who?
The guy playing first base.
Who is on first school?
What are you asking me for?
Don't get excited. I'm saying who.
I'm asking you a simple question. Who's on first?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
That's it.
That's who. I'm asking you, what's the guy's name on first base?
Oh, no, what's on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
One base at a time.
Don't mix up my...
I'm not mixing up anybody. Now, what's the guy's name on first base?
No, what is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who is on first?
I don't know.
He's on third. We're not Whoa. Now, let's not...
Whoa. How did I get on third base?
You mentioned his name.
I mentioned his name.
Yes.
I don't know anybody's name on the team. How could I mention the guy's name?
You did. You just mentioned it.
All right, what's the guy's name on third base?
No, what's on second?
Who's on second?
Who's on third?
I don't know.
He's on third.
I didn't even mention the guy's name on third base.
Yes, you did.
All right, then who's playing third base?
No, who's on first?
I'm not asking you what's on first.
What's on second?
Who's on second?
Who's on third?
I don't know. He's third base. And I don't know anybody on the baseball team.
You do. You mentioned their names.
I do?
Sure.
You got an outfield?
Naturally.
The left fielder's name.
Why?
I just thought I'd ask you. I just thought I'd ask you.
Well, I just thought I'd tell you.
Go ahead. Tell me.
The Tell you what.
Well, if you was there.
Why?
Because I want to know! Because!
Oh, he's center field. You know these players as well.
Who's in center field?
Now, who's on first?
What's in first? I don't know.
Third base.
Do you know the guy's names on the team?
Look, Louis, you don't seem to understand. See, I have a first baseman.
I know you got a first.
It's a-
I asked you what's the first. I asked you what's the first baseman's name.
No, what's the second baseman?
I'm going to stop asking you. I asked you what's the first baseman's name.
What's the second baseman?
I don't even get past the. All right, who's on second?
Who's on first?
What base do you want to talk about?
Anyone you want to talk about.
All right, now who's on first?
Right.
Okay. I'm getting you. All right, you got a first baseman. When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar.
Who gets it?
He does. Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes. Why not, Lou? He's earned it.
Who did it?
Yes.
Look, when you pay off the first baseman every month, you get a receipt from the guy?
Sure.
How's he sign his name?
Who?
The guy you give the money to.
Who?
The guy you give the money to.
Well, that's how he signs it.
That's how who signs it?
Yes.
Go ahead, tell me.
That's it.
Who? Look, you go to first base,
Yes.
and you say to him, here's your money, sign the receipt. How does he sign his name?
Who?
The guy you give the money to.
That's how he signs it.
That's how who signs it?
Yes.
Sure. You gotta get a receipt from the guy, don't you?
Yes, but Lou.
How does the guy at first base sign his name?
Who?
The guy at first. I'm asking you, when you give the guy the money, what's the guy's name that you give the money to?
Now, wait a minute. What signs his own?
Who signs his own?
No, who signs it?
I mean, what's the guy's name on first you give the...
What is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know. Third base. The fielder's name, the center field. I don't know if you got a pitcher on the team.
It'll be a fine team without a pitcher.
It's a fine team. The pitcher's name.
Tomorrow.
You
I
want to tell me the date?
can't change that.
You want to tell me the date?
I'm telling you.
Go ahead, tell me the pitcher's name.
Tomorrow.
Why not tell me today? Tomorrow? Then tell me the pitcher's name.
Tomorrow.
All right, what time tomorrow you tell me the pitcher's name?
What time what?
What time tomorrow you gonna tell me who's pitching?
Who is not pitching?
I'll break you right now. I want to know what's the pitcher's name.
What's on second?
I don't know. Third base. Third base. Third base. You got a catcher?
Suddenly you've got a catcher on a baseball team.
Pitcher's name.
Today.
Today. Tomorrow's pitching. Today's catcher.
Now you've got it.
Now I got it. All I got, we got a couple of days on the team. That's all.
I get it. I'm bad, Lou. I don't
You
get
know,
it.
I'm a pretty good catcher myself.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah, now I get behind the plate and I'm going to do some fancy catching, and tomorrow's pitching on my team, right? Now tomorrow he winds up the ball, and I'm behind the plate, the heavy hitter gets up. Now the heavy hitter gets up and he's ready to hit the ball, and tomorrow's going to throw the ball, I'm the catcher. Now when tomorrow throws the ball, the guy punches the ball. Now when he punches the ball, me being a good catcher, I'm going to throw the guy out of first base, so I pick up the ball and throw it to who?
Now that's the first thing you said right.
I don't even know what I'm talking about!
That's all you have to do.
He's to throw the ball to first base. Now who's got it? Sure. Yeah. Look, the guy is running to first base, and I want to throw the guy out. So I throw the ball to who?
Naturally.
Throw it to who?
Naturally.
Who's got it? So I pick up the ball and I throw it to natural.
No. You throw the ball to first base, then who gets it?
Natural.
That's now you have to see.
I pick up the ball, so I throw it to natural.
You don't.
I throw it to who?
That's
what I'm saying! I said throw the ball to who?
Naturally.
You asked me.
You throw the ball to who?
Naturally. Same as you! I throw the ball to
You
natural.
don't. You throw it to who?
Now who's got it? Naturally, that's what I said. Whoever it is better get it. That's what I said.
Don't worry about who.
Who'll get it?
Yeah.
He better get it. Now, I throw the ball to whoever it is back to the ball so the guy runs a second. Who picks up the ball, throws to what? What throws to I don't know. I don't know. Throws back to Tamar. Triple play.
Could be.
Another guy gets up and it's a long fly ball to be caused. Why? I don't know. He's on third and I don't give a darn. I said, I don't give a darn.
Oh, that's our shortstop.
I mean,
That was on first.
I don't know who's on second.
Okay, this is a joke my mother told me, who also had a sense of humor. It's about a couple in shul, in the synagogue, or two couples, a man and a woman, and in front of the man and the woman are a woman and a man. So in other words, the woman is sat in front of the man and vice versa. The man is sat in front of behind the woman. At one point in the service, they have to stand up, and the woman who was stood in front of the man turns round and slaps him. And his wife says, "What the hell? What's going on here? Why did she slap you?" He says, "Well, when we stood up just now, I noticed that her skirt was stuck in the crack of her bum. So I pulled it out." And his wife says, "Oh, that's awful." A little while later, exactly the same thing happens. They stood up, and again, after the stand up, the woman in front of the man turns around and slaps him again. And his wife says, "What's going on now?" And he says, "Well, I was thinking about it. Maybe she likes it in there, so I put it back." That was my mother's joke. There's an older couple in a retirement home similar to this one, and the names I'm going to use are thankful to Ari who gave me these names. Trevor and Daphne. So Trevor comes up to Daphne and he says, "I bet you can't guess how old I am." And she says, "Oh, I think I can." He says, "Go on then." And she unzips his pants, sticks her hand inside, feels around for a minute or two, and then pulls her hand out, zips him up again, and says, "You're 93. And he says, "That's amazing. How did you do that?" And she says, "Oh, you told me yesterday." Okay, how are we doing on time? No.
You're okay.
Yeah, okay. Here's a little kind of a Jewish joke. Moshe Levinson was a terrific guy. He did all kinds of charity work, fundraising, all kinds of stuff. He was a wonderful fellow. And one day he gets a letter from Buckingham Palace saying that he's been awarded a knighthood. And then he has to go to Buckingham Palace to receive his knighthood. So he thinks, "Oh, this is wonderful, what an honor." And he reads up what's involved in getting a knighthood. And part of what he reads up, he realizes that he has to speak a few words in Latin. And he says, "I don't know from Latin." And he's talking to his friend about this. And his friend says, "Well, listen, King Charles doesn't know Latin either, so just say anything, any language. He won't know the difference." So off he goes to Buckingham Palace in front of the king, and the king lifts out his sword and does this business with the sword. And Moshe suddenly thinks, and he says, well, he's supposed to say in Latin, he says, "Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol ha'olot." And Camilla turns to Charles and says, "Why is this night different to all other nights?" Okay, stop laughing now, Susan. Oh, that's Sid at the back, I know. All right. Yeah, okay. This is the last section, then I'm going to bugger off for my lunch. In the 1960s and 70s, a lot of the working classes in England used to go for their vacations to these holiday resort towns all around the coast of England. And this is a story about a particular family that went to one of these resort towns, and it was called Blackpool, and this is Blackpool. You can see the tower there. This tower, I think I have a note. It was built in 1894 compared to the Eiffel Tower, which was built in 1887. So apparently the elders of the city of Blackpool went over to Paris, saw the Eiffel Tower, and decided it would be a good idea to build one of their own in Blackpool, and this is what they built. So here's the story about a family that went there, and I'll see if I can remember all the words. There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's famous for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A fine little chap was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, with a stick with a horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. They didn't think much of the ocean. The waves were all piddly and small. There was no wrecks, nobody drowning, in fact, nothing to laugh at all. So seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo, where there's lions and tigers and camels and old ale and sandwiches too. There was one great big lion called Wallace. Can we have the picture of the lion? There he is, whose nose was all covered in scars. By the time this picture was taken, the scars have faded. And he laid in a somnolent posture with the side of his face to the bars. Now Albert, this brave little fellow, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with the horse's head handle and shoved it in Wallace's ear. You could see that the lion didn't like it. There you go. For giving a kind of a roll, grabbed the little lad in the cage with him and swallowed poor Albert whole. Now father, who had seen the occurrence and didn't know what to do next, said, "Mother, the lion's eaten Albert." The mother says, "I am vexed." Sorry, go to the next line. The manager had to be sent for, who took out his wallet straight away, saying, "How much to settle the matter?" Father says, "Well, what do you usually pay?" At this, mother turned really awkward when she thought where her Albert had gone, and said, "Somebody will have to be summoned." And that was decided upon. So off they went to the police station in front of a magistrate chap and told him what had happened to Albert and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion, but no one was really to blame, and he hoped that Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom would have further sons to their name. At this, mother became blazing angry. "I'll thank you, sir, kindly," said she. "Spend all our lives raising children to feed bloody lions, not me." That's all I have.
Okay.
That's it.
Another round of applause. Thank you very much.
Have anything to say to close it out, or no?
No. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. And so what are you going to do next week?
I've been asked for a striptease.
Thank you very much, Alan. I think that was great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Anytime.